And again, I salute your efforts in terms of bringing forward this update of the Career and Technical Education Act so quickly in this legislative session. I also want to salute the sponsors, Mr. Thompson from Pennsylvania, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Again, thank you for your great work in terms of, again, really accelerating this important issue. President Trump actually invited to the White House on February 22nd manufacturing CEOs from all across the country. The purpose of the meeting was actually to support the border adjusted tax, which he has put forward as a way to bring jobs back to America. It was interesting to read the press reports because actually the content of the discussion migrated away from tax policy to exactly what we're talking about here today. In fact, as one CEO said to President Trump, jobs are there, skills are not. And those basically 6 simple words really express the challenge that I think every member, Republican and Democrat, are hearing out there in terms of talking to employers, is that there's a skills gap, which if we can close that gap, we will do more for the U.S. economy probably than the Ways and Means Committee and the Finance Committee and the Senate are going to be able to accomplish. And obviously tax reform seems to be fading off into the horizon, which is why, again, it is so important for us to move forward with this measure as quickly as we can to respond to the message that these business leaders gave to the president on February 22nd. In my district, again, I have a shipyard which has been part of the effort to recapitalize our submarine force. We build the Virginia attack submarines as well as the new ballistic Columbia-class submarines. When I was first elected to Congress, the shipyard employed roughly about 7,000 individuals. A couple weeks ago, we passed the 15,000 mark. We're going to 18,000 in terms of, again, the incredible backlog and the demand signal from the Navy for this critical part of our Navy fleet. When you build a submarine, you're dealing with probably one of the most complex challenges imaginable. You're creating a vessel that operates in an environment that does not support human life. It's powered by nuclear power, and obviously it's got armaments that probably are as advanced as any really in our military arsenal. So there is no margin for error for the welders, for the machinists, the electricians, and the carpenters, and having a skills pipeline that is really able to meet this demand, particularly when it is going to be required to hire so many young new people, we've got to get this right. And the good news is it's a tremendous opportunity. What you can do as a nuclear welder in terms of supporting yourself and your family is really a career, not just a job. And again, this measure is just so important in terms of making sure that we hit that goal. I check every morning 2 things. Number 1, the box score from the Boston Red Sox, see how they did the night before. And the second is how many job openings are down at the shipyard. And this morning there were 195 job openings. So again, as the CEO said, the jobs are there, but the skills are not. And that's really the challenge that this entire Congress really has to meet. Last year, we kicked off a program through the U.S. Department of Labor, Eastern Connecticut Manufacturing Pipeline, which brought in resources from the Department of Labor and used the EWIB board, the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board, to bring together EB as well as some of the other supply chain manufacturers, again, folks from the community colleges and the tech schools. And again, they are showing great results in terms of that collaboration producing, again, these new skilled workers that are going to be able to take on the challenge that our nation has put forward out there. What I really appreciate about this bill is that we are getting the Perkins Act aligned with the Workforce Investment Act that this committee produced a couple of years ago. And that is, again, one of many reasons why we need to update the Perkins Act. And again, I think it's for every district, for every member, regardless of party or region. This is going to have just great benefits and really, I think, will probably surpass almost any other measure that this Congress is going to be capable of taking up in terms of growing jobs and giving people a future. And with that, I yield back.